about that. Democrat, the ranking Democrat on the Budget Committee at Maryland, Congressman Chris Van Hollen, and also Republican member of the Budget Committee, South Carolina, Congressman Mick Mulvaney. Gentlemen, nice to have you join this morning. Appreciate it. Sorry it's not in person, but I know you've got stuff to do there on the Hill. Let me start with a question about what you would like to hear from the Chairman Bernanke today. Congressman Mulvaney, why don't you start? What do you want to hear from him?
Sure. I think the two things we'll probably talk with him first about are his recently stated the intentions of the Fed to keep interest rates at or near zero for the next 2 years. That's an unprecedented move in our history. We'd want to know why that is, especially if we think we're starting to see some sort of recovery in the markets.
So you had said, let me stop you there for a second if you don't mind, because you had said previously that that was a teaser rate. So, you know, now that it's extended 2 years or 3 years, I've read as well, what do you think of that?
Well, and that's what we're going to ask the question. One of my concerns was that he was making it not intentionally, but one of the unintended consequences of these low rates is that it's very affordable for the government to borrow money. And in fact, you've seen the president go on his nationwide tour saying we should be borrowing more money now, not less, because interest rates are so low. So it struck me that the nation is doing some of the same things that homeowners did a couple years ago with these teaser rates on mortgages, and I don't want it to see us go down the same road. So yeah, we will be pushing him on that a little bit today. Okay,
Congressman Van Hollen, what would you like to hear from the chairman?
Well, I think he's going to make 2 points, and there are 2 points I think he should make. The first is that we need to focus on nurturing a very fragile economy, and that means that we've got to extend the payroll tax cut for another 10 months. He will also stress, as he has in the past, the importance of maintaining critical investments that have helped the economy grow, investments in education, science and research, and infrastructure. And then the other part of his testimony will be why it's important to come together now on a plan that will reduce the deficit over a period of time in a stable, predictable way, not in a way that shocks the economy, but in a way that gives us an assurance that we will get the deficit and debt under control in the long run. I hope we can do that. It should be done in a bipartisan basis in a balanced way, and I think those are the themes the chairman will stress.
All right, so if you look at this chart, which is a graph of the jobless rate over the last 12 months, and you can see some improvement, right? It's heading downward, but there's no one who can read that chart and say, wow, that's amazing, that's terrific. So what do you think, in that kind of long list that you both gave me of the topics you think he's going to cover, what does he have to say that keeps that tail end there going down? Why don't you start for me, Congressman Mulvaney?
Sure. We have already asked him that exact question on the Joint Economic Committee when he testified before us last month, and he said that he didn't think that in the long run monetary policy could solve the unemployment difficulty. So what you're seeing is the offshoot of the policies of this administration. This is the slowest recovery in history. The reason that graph is not more dramatic, as it would have been in every other recovery after every other post-war recession, is because of the way we've handled it with this dramatic stimulus project. So I think you're going to see him not talk about the fiscal matters that Mr. Van Hollen just mentioned, but the monetary issues that are before him specifically. How does he keep growth going and continue to keep inflation under control?
Actually, so that in the past, Ben Bernanke has essentially debunked what Congressman Mulvaney just said about the president's approach. In fact, Bernanke has said that the actions taken by the Federal Reserve and the actions taken by the recovery bill help prevent a second Great Depression and help stop the free fall. We are now climbing out of that. Historically, it's always tougher to climb out of a recession that's precipitated by a financial meltdown, and we know that. And the good news is that for the last 22 months, we've seen 3 million private sector jobs grow. Are we satisfied with the pace? Of course not. But one of the lessons I think Ben Bernanke is going to talk about is that it would be a mistake to too quickly take any action that would send the economy into a slowdown. And if you cut too quickly in critical investments, you will have that unintended effect. So yes, we need to come together right now on a long-term deficit reduction plan. But again, don't do anything in the short term that would jeopardize the fragile recovery. Again, that's why the payroll tax cut's important. People need a little bit more money in their pockets right now so they can go out and spend on goods and services, and business can sell things and hire more people.
Congressman Van Hollen and Congressman Mulvaney, thank you for being with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Soledad.
You can see, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
No, you.
Well, I was going to say, there's a lot
That'll
of people,
make for a long panel.
a lot of people have been very outraged about deficits since January 21st, 2009. So it's interesting to hear this, see this talk going on. But it is true. When Mitt Romney comes out and says that President Obama lost 2 million jobs, he's talking about the fact that we were still losing 750,000 jobs per month when President Bush left. That was the jobs lost pre-stimulus.
But here is the thing,
and the
though,
stimulus stopped it.
I think that when your average voter looks at a graph and it's just down a little,
Of course.
that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Look, that is going to be
There's
a problem.
a graph. Thank you for running that graph, Danny. I appreciate that.
That's going to be a problem. But also, what we are dealing with is this. Congressman talked about in terms of how the policies have not helped. We're also operating in really a new normal, and that is you look at the amount of people who have, the folks with debt. You look at the folks who are living far above their means. And so we had this false economy for nearly a generation, and we're now having to pay the price. And we were not going to get out of this in 2 years. This is going to be a long haul that folks had better get used to.
I got to go to commercial break. You have a quick thing you want to add to that or no?
I agree with that. Private debt has been one of the cancers in this society. It takes a long time to work it off. Ben Bernanke's not getting the credit he deserves for what he's done over the last 3 years.
Well, looky there. Interesting. All right, short break.
Ya no puede caminar porque no tiene, porque le falta